Evening. Call this regular Board of Selectmen meeting to order Tuesday, October 4th, year 2022. This is a hybrid public meeting. You can attend in person or electronically. I see we have a few people on electronically. If you have something to say, please raise your hand. We'll call on you. And we ask that you state your name and your address. And we also, if you're on the Zoom and you're going to want to say something, get in the chat, throw a hand up, do something to grab our attention, and we'll call on you. We'll ask for the same. Anybody gets disunruly, we'll ask you to please resolve that, or you'll be asked to leave. Doing that, next is the Pledge of Allegiance. You'll join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible. Approval of the agenda. I need to ask that we add something. Came up, Ingrid, got news of a grant out there, and it is due before our next Board of Selectmen meeting. So I know we don't like to add things, but when it's somebody willing to give away money, we can use. So I make a motion to add to the agenda under new business 7.3 collections assessment grant. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
I have something I'd like to add to the agenda. I know we talked about when people they want to say on the lake, they want to approve docks. What's the process they go through? Do they need to go through the same zoning process as the town? I just said with that LMAC meeting, I just had some questions. It's more a process more than just to understand how they do that, but we're asked to vote on stuff, so I wanted to get a better understanding.
Well, there is a clear process for that.
Right, I'm just trying to understand the process.
Oh, and not to be,
Right.
If you go down to zoning, they will walk through it with you. Connie would be very, happy to walk you through that. Because we spent a lot of time on the LMAC and the lake a couple of years ago, redoing everything, and it should be pretty clear on when they need to get a permit. If they're instead of
Taking time up here, okay.
So,
But I can go over it with you too, because the construction requests go through this office.
Yeah.
And then we file them down in the wetlands into,
I mean, just to get an understanding, because we're asked to vote on it, and I just want to understand better what I'm voting on.
yep, so anything that comes before us, we should know as much as possible. Or, which help me, I tell people I don't know anything, but I'll have to find the answers, and that way we can do it. That way we don't memorize something and forget it. We don't have
They do a
to.
good job, it's just really understanding.
I would ask you to go through these channels, and then if there's something you want to bring up.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen regular meeting minutes for September 20th, in the year 2022. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Audience of citizens. Anybody in the chat?
no.
Okay, we'll move to old business. Discussion on a request for the location change to the front of the town hall for the AHM Here for You Little Library. 2 weeks ago, we voted to put it just outside the library. And there's been discussion that the library doesn't want a little library outside the big library. Mark?
So we put it in front of the chapel, since the back of the chapel is really just the gateway to the sidewalk all the way down to the green.
And not only that, that chapel holds thousands of books, doesn't it?
Correct, but the letter that came from the Friends of the library felt it would be confusing to their mission, which is to collect books and have book sales. Normally, they haven't been having many because of COVID, but they want to get back to their, I believe, at least 4 times a year. Having a sale, and they have one planned for November 12th and 13th. So the Friends' request was it was confusing their mission, and Sue was clear she didn't want anywhere near the library. But
So where do we want to move it?
I suggested we put it right in front of, as our sidewalk swings around, there's a big dead area where we used to have a plant that is no longer there. And, the library could go right there as you're walking the town hall.
Where's the social services office?
It's at the Murphy House.
The Murray House.
Nobody goes
I
there.
don't think they go down.
Well, they do, I shouldn't say that. That is the main thoroughfare where for the beach. And that is an option too, because a lot of people.
Well, but only in the summer,
Correct.
not during the winter.
I mean, I had no problem with it.
Yeah, I think this is better, as long as the library is okay with it.
So where's better?
Out here, she was talking about right in front of the town hall.
So right at the entrance of the town hall,
That's fine.
any input?
Doesn't seem like a significant change from the chapel or the front of the library.
I know it's not a significant thing, so you're okay with it here, or?
No, I'm not okay with it.
Oh, okay, that's,
People are upset about the positioning of the little library in front of the big library, or if they're upset about the positioning of the little library in front of the chapel. I don't see how it's going to change if you position the little library in front of the town hall.
Now, have you asked them if the that's the in front of the town hall?
In Sue's letter, she stated that she preferred to be either in front of town hall at the Murphy House or I think it was one other place,
Rec Park.
or Rec Park.
Rec Park is not a bad spot either.
We're just thinking it might get vandalized.
I think it would be vandalized.
Yeah.
so the other thing is, why can't we put a sign over the top of it that says, find more books like these at our monthly book sale
Well, see,
inside?
the conflict was that AHM is determining these mental health, self-help books, and it's not vetted through the library and their staff.
I would support Lisa's suggestion to put it in front of the social services by the Murphy.
And if you're coming for social services, you
I mean, it's
most
appropriate.
likely
I'm just,
would look at it there, probably more than out in the green.
I mean, how can we communicate that?
Who fills it? Who fills it?
AHM, it's their responsibility.
but during the winter, they don't have a lot of people going to the lake.
Does she meet with people?
On occasion, she does.
Then it's a place to put it.
All right, so I know we have some friends of the library here that are involved in that, they're here. You're not friends of the library?
Library board.
You don't like it though?
Two different, no, I'm just saying two different organizations.
I try to have a little fun in these meetings, so not all doom and gloom.
The friends of the library, not.
All right, so, Denise, would you like to?
I'm Denise Egan, 16 Lake Road, Columbia. My experience, and part of the discussion that the library board had, was my experience of free library things, boxes, is that they're never located near a library. They're its own little entity. But it's a place where people go by. And I can tell you, I live next to the Murphy House, and there's traffic there all year. I mean, people are always going down Beach Road and always walking down on the docks, whether it's the middle of December or the middle of February and I think if people knew it was there and they got in the habit of going and trading books, it would be a very good location. Part of the concern here is they don't want to see people dropping off tons of books at the little library, and then they come out for their book sale and they look and there's books all over the place. And it just is a conflict of what they do as friends of the library and what is the purpose of a typical little free library is. It's just not related to the public library.
Ian, did you have something?
I was going to suggest if you want, oh, yeah, done it. Oh, no, wait.
Okay, forgot.
If you wanted in, on the campus of the town hall, to put it over on that side.
There's nobody goes, oh, over by the yeoman's entrance? By when?
No, around the side of the building.
Towards Charity's School, maybe over there. but then-
Across from the chairs. Right.
All right. There's a lot of places we could, but it's really,
I like Murphy House.
I like my big social services.
No, I think you're right. If people know it's there.
What's
They
nice
will go-
about it's also private. It
Right.
has more privacy
Right.
here, you know,
Right.
what are you doing looking at me?
I know.
So that,
And people, they know their books there. They do go to it, and seek them out.
All those in favor of moving to the Murphy House? Opposed?
It doesn't work there.
I'll take care of it.
EV chargers.
So I just wanted to update everybody. In your packet, there's a copy of the summary of this whole program, also the proposal to keep and the proposal to Eversource, or the grant applications for both. Now, I didn't give you a copy of each location, but each location has its own proposal. If you have a sample of they're all the same, basically. In Eversource, each specific location has another application. And the key with this summary is you had 3 choices of chargers: the loop, the juice bar, and the charge point. Titan Energy recommended the loop. It was the least expensive. Both the juice bar and the charge point have ongoing monthly costs for the internet hookup. The juice bar was $40 a month, and the charge point was $56 a month. So I thought those would add up quickly. The loop is actually smaller and less intrusive, but still will work perfectly.
which one was 40, which one was 50?
So the loop with no extra charge, the juice bar was $40 a month, and the charge was $56 a month. They have more connectivity to the web, and
The only thing I found confusing, I did not realize we were looking at 16 chargers. I didn't think there were that many. When we were talking about it a couple weeks ago. I added them up and I have 2, 4,
3, 4,
6,
6,
10,
10,
16.
16.
16.
So these are all locations that could possibly support a charger. Porter School, the library, the senior center, the town hall, the town beach, and the town garage.
But when we were talking about them, there was like 1s and 2s. There
Yes,
wasn't.
I agree with you. And the other thing is this what it's gonna cost the town?
What we're trying to do is if we get enough grants, especially through Volkswagen, it could offset the cost. If when we finally hear what we were awarded and we want to cut back, we can nix some of these units.
Okay, so what's the
Because
cost?
you can reduce, and can we nix it if we don't get the grants to cover it?
Yes.
The cost is 81,330.
We want that for that.
But that's for 16.
16 chargers.
This was a concern we had last time because, we've been discussing this for a while, and I would have rather had the contract and everything in front of us last week so we could evaluate it before we start voting on it. We didn't have that. And we're just like,
Well, right now, they're just trying to achieve earmarks. And if we do not achieve them, we're not committed anything. So as
So
soon as the grant money
Eversource-
runs out, it runs out.
Is that an Eversource charge for each station also?
No, the charge that you'd be hit with is actually half the charge of the unit, the charging unit.
So there's installation, what's the EVSE? Is that Eversource? I was assuming.
Eversource, probably. Venue center. On our best.
That's the, electric vehicle supply. That's the.
That's the charge.
Thank you so much for your time.
Because I question how much these would get used, because if people have electric cars in town, they're gonna charge their cars at home. If we have some at the town hall, like, I guess if we had it at Public Works, I guess that would be a good thing.
Well, at Public Works, one intent is to charge an electric bus. And the school is working on getting.
They're getting it all us, but at the town hall, unless people had electric cars here, they wouldn't get used unless people come in from, people who are driving by.
Now,
Use it.
actually, it's only 8 charging units. Each unit has 2 ports.
Oh, okay.
That's the difference. So there's
Okay.
2 like gas at
Well,
home.
then that makes sense.
So it is 8.
Okay.
So we contract our buses, correct?
Yep. Correct.
We had all the buses, correct?
No,
No.
we provide diesel to power them. In this case, we'd be providing.
Right, which is why I asked last time, is M&J on board to?
We find the buses.
Yes, yeah, we're not buying one. That's the end of
But
the
they
day.
were saying, so, but then how much would it get used here? At the town hall or library?
The whole focus is the more you allow charging units to start becoming available, the incentives are being driven to get consumers to be more comfortable with purchasing electric vehicles.
So it's like be having some foresight, maybe, to decide, just get them and maybe people will use them, kind of thing.
So do we have a business plan that we submitted with the proposal form? Because I don't have a part of the application where I want to see it. I think that would have given us some insight, what are we getting ourselves into, the total cost of ownership?
Right.
Like you're saying, what's the demand? I understand you gotta get the infrastructure in place, but in the end, I think I'd like to know what the plan is, especially if we're going to start, capitalizing, equipment and cars and all that. They're gonna be able to do that down the road. So I would think-
Exactly, but right now, that's why we asked Beth, who was on the line, is there any vehicles in Department of Public Works that has electric, if you will, or foreseen? She said Caterpillar may be working on one, but now we're up to 8 units, double ports, I understand that, but it may cost us up to $81,000 if some of these grants don't come through, and we don't have any town vehicles to charge them up. So I'm not sure that's an investment I'm okay with.
I agree.
And I did look back in the minutes and it says here, Titan Energy prepared and submits the direct applications. Chris Ram said neither the proposal nor the application of Eversource or UI binds the customer, Columbia, to the project. I know we did discuss that, so that's why I'm looking here. So we can continue forward, but I mean, like Bill said, now we have different numbers, we have some numbers in front of us. Is this something we want to go forward with?
Do we want to start with one maybe?
Well, I'd say when we get the results back from what earmarks were achieved and what is guaranteed as grant money, then we can make that decision. We could bring Titan in and say, all right, tell us where we stand, and then we can determine our appetite for charging units.
Well, I have 2 points. One, I do not want to compete with our commercial or businesses now who are going to be putting these in, I would assume. And secondly, I really don't like the idea of people coming into the town hall campus at 3 o'clock in the morning to charge vehicles.
I mean, that's.
And I think you mentioned your safeguards where we won't be on their searchable
Right.
map, right? Books.
We can hide our units.
But then it even makes- that would be where we make money if we did that. And I think we make money with it.
So that's a whole nother decision point.
Yeah.
You could be just breaking even, or you could have it so that we're not the cheapest charging town. And
But if we don't
we're
want
not a draw.
if we don't want to do that, then I guess I'm just not sure.
I mean, to me, the library kind of makes sense, you go to the library.
Just to hang out there.
Your kids are there or something like that, but
Uh-oh.
Just checking.
Well, I'm
You could
not,
advertise
I'm
the
not
latest
saying,
books.
I'm staying more in this parking lot.
Right.
You could have a couple units in there and then,
Right.
you know, that almost makes sense.
Yeah, because we spend more time on it.
It's been a long time.
And senior
The seating
center,
area.
I can see the senior center.
I still think people who have electric cars might charge their cars at home. They all have ports. You
Yeah.
know, so it's not gonna be people.
And they're starting to
And
become smarter, where they're just gonna make them quick, fast, regular twice.
You can put one near the first selectmen's parking space.
Then you gotta
It
get
will
a
encourage the public.
Yeah. That's what I want.
We could try one and see how it goes. I don't know, but,
Well, here's the thing, as I
But the
recall, this
programs
grant,
going away.
programs are going away. So the bottom line is, I think we're in. Do we continue to let them put forth everything to see what it comes out and may come out that we're covered under, as most of it costs us a few dollars.
Mhm.
Make them back that they don't get the grants even that are in here that cost us 81,000. It could be more than that. I do think electric cars
Yeah. they come.
are here to stay.
Yeah.
And they're only gonna get more prevalent.
Yeah.
Okay, I also think that we can put it in there that if somebody needs to come in here at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, smile, you're on camera, and put your
Oh,
credit
but
card
then
in there
there's
so you
another,
pay your
then
bill.
there's another cost. Camera.
Yeah,
We have,
but that's, yeah,
There's
so with the
You
bottom,
put them where the cameras are.
There's cameras everywhere.
so I guess I would let Titan continue and put all the numbers together and bring it to us. As I have this, it says,
I'm relieved it's not 16 units, because I was like, wait, that was not what we were talking.
yeah, I remember it did add up to 8.
So concurrent with that, though, can we maybe start sharing what the maintenance plan is and all the other plans? Because I mean, this application requires us to have all these plans in place. I think if we're moving forward in anticipation of getting this, we probably ought to be looking at that as well. So I think we can make an informed decision for this budget season, I'm sure.
Right.
Right.
okay.
Are you okay, letting it go forward as we
As
asked?
long as we don't have to make a decision right now.
Yeah,
New business.
Okay, so we learned 2 weeks ago that they had to evacuate some classrooms in the lower wing back here because of black mold and mildew. And
It was it wasn't harmful mold, and it was easily cleaned, and the kids were back in class. But it's something that happens every year, and we're trying
And the
to.
state knows about this problem with a lot of educational buildings. That's why they've asked that, and the state and the federal government, they're looking into different grants for this stuff. And apparently, there's a grant out there. Commissioner, Department of Administrative Services. For a grant, construction grant for Horace Porter School for HVAC and indoor air quality project. So we'd like to set up, set the wheels moving on that, and so here's the other thing, they're gonna give us $20 for the grant, and we locked in it.
Well, this is a competitive grant.
Yeah.
This year's deadline is this December. I know Coventry is, hoping they can get everything done in time to make this year's round. We would be next year's round, so they still have to engineer upgrading the electric system because it's already maxed out with what we have over the school. They'd have to engineer HVAC for at least the wing that has the most problems. And then they'd have to engineer almost like a, how do we keep going from here for other portions of the school or if needed. It's gonna take a while.
So that's the wing that's here, that's 2 floors, right?
Right, the one that's
Right
right
here, the
here.
oldest part. Pretty much.
And,
All right, if who's doing the schematic drawings if we do this? Because
the school will have to hire an engineering firm to accomplish all that. Do
again,
this building.
well, Wasn't Titan Energy looking into that for us and coming up with suggestions again?
They could be one of the firms that could aid in that process.
So basically, you're asking us to put in motion to the Columbia Board of Education to be able to go after this grant, get the schematic drawings and the outline specifications for the grant that's needed, so we can put a grant that hopefully takes care of these. Yeah, thank you. So it's a little bit of information here, so just give me a few minutes. I make a motion to set a town meeting for Thursday, October 18th, 2022 at 6:45.
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday.
It says Thursday.
We can.
There's the legal note.
That's a technical, the legal has it.
Okay,
And do you want only 15 minutes?
no. Because now I'm looking at money, school, air quality and air conditioning. You're gonna have a bigger crowd, so.
And you want it at Yeoman's then? Then we
Yes,
close
I
that
want-
meeting out and come over here?
Yeah, I wanted it at Yeoman's and I needed that on Tuesday
What time?
at 6 p.m. Is that okay? I think an hour.
I'll do my best.
Okay,
That's
I'm going to amend my motion. I make a motion to set a town meeting for Tuesday, October 18th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the Yeoman's Hall for the following purpose. Clause 1, be it resolved that the town of Columbia hereby authorizes the Columbia Board of Education through the superintendent to apply to the Commissioner of the Department of Administrative Services for an indoor air quality school construction grant for Horace W. Porter School, and be it further resolved that the town of Columbia does hereby establish a building committee for the HVAC indoor air quality project at Horace W. Porter School. And be it further resolved that the Board of Selectmen shall be authorized to appoint the members of the foregoing building committee. And be it further resolved that the town of Columbia hereby authorizes the Columbia Board of Education to prepare the schematic drawings and outline specifications for the HVAC indoor air quality project at the Horace W. Porter School. Discussion.
The money we got, that American Rescue money, that wouldn't cover this.
No, you probably, if their original estimates come in, you probably have to buy. But they might want some American Rescue money to do the immediate schematics and analysis.
So they
You're
can-
talking about your, right.
I don't know, I've heard back, I asked Maria if she could get.
All right, first, I will say that initially, this is where we have the dampening stuff, correct?
Correct.
The air quality is to be able to dehumidify the air, the damp air, to keep the mold from building in there, correct?
Ideally, it would be to remove the window units and reach that,
Okay,
like they have in the library.
so are we talking, when you say, and I know the price was $5 million.
But that seems insane.
That's for the whole
It's the
school.
whole school.
That's for the whole school, so
I just
when
can't-
you say bond, we don't bond $500,000 to do 6 rooms.
Be bonding. Correct. I would think we could handle just doing that one way.
Okay.
Without bonding. But if you're talking about the whole school and we're bringing in power to handle that and all the piping around the outside, I don't know what that would be. I don't know if that is more than that. But I'd like some expert, I don't know how they came up with 5 million. It just seems
Right, seems like an awful lot.
way out of the ballpark.
Awful lot.
Well,
Well, I think
That's
it's
not my
needed. I think
area
it's
of
needed.
expertise.
We've gotta, there's mold there. They gotta figure out a way to get that.
I understand the bring over here. I understand the mold. I get it.
But it's low.
So now we're gonna have a town meeting just to put this grant in and put the building committee.
together.
We don't even know what exactly we're trying to do.
Right, but this is the, if you want to go for this construction grant as your source of money. To do all this, these are the steps the state requires.
I'd like a member of the Board of Education to tell me how they're leaning on, are they gonna, we're authorizing them to go after this grant, are they going after it for the 6 classrooms over here, or are they going after the whole school? That's important to me when I stand up on Tuesday, October 18th, at the town meeting and tell, you know, and
I'll make that clear.
Yeah, we don't
We
really
need
know.
more information at this time.
Is there a time?
well,
is there a
we're
time
not
constraint?
applying for this year's grant,
Your
we're
decision.
applying for next year's grant, so we
We have
some
time, so can we have get clarification before we sign off on this?
I think I want the Board of Education to weigh in on this and tell us what they're.
So do you want to bump it out further than next Tuesday?
I want the
They're not
Board of
gonna have time
Education,
to get it back to us.
yep,
Yeah.
I'm going to withdraw my motion. I want the Board of Education to find out what they're looking for, what, you know, they're gaining for factual stuff, the feeling of the community. I need to know what they're gonna ask for. Okay,
I agree.
am I wrong?
No, I agree.
100%.
There's a lot that we don't
We're
know.
going for a grant for next year. We're gonna do it, whatever we do, and we're gonna do it right. So we get what we're looking
We
for.
could fund the analysis and the initial schematic that they talk about. And we could just pay for that and quantify and qualify what we're doing. And then go for the grant.
I want to hear what the Board of Ed is planning for that. Okay?
Do you know what the deadline is for the grant?
Yeah, this December, so we cannot be this December.
Right, it'll be next December.
That won't happen.
Thank you. 7.2, approval for the legal traffic authority to authorize school zone signage in front of East Town facility located at 10 Commerce Drive. So that's down near the storage shed area, correct?
Yeah.
At the end of the Commerce Drive.
So what's the problem?
So the school has.
Cul-de-sac there, right?
Right, but the cul-de-sac also, you can go through the cul-de-sac and keep going to some other businesses on the end of the cul-de-sac.
Yes, yes, there's another building
No,
down
in the
there.
middle of the, well, towards the end of the falls.
Right,
So we got a complaint from the school that the businesses on 10 Commerce lie down, and all the kids are walking. And they said, can you just put up some signage that there's a school at the end of this road, and you should drive accordingly.
yeah, okay.
So,
You know what?
school zone ahead, 1 mile an hour.
I don't have a problem with it.
That's.
I'll make a motion and we'll discuss it. I make a motion for legal traffic authority to authorize Mark Walton, town administrator, to install signage to create a school zone at the East Town facility at 10 Commerce Drive. I guess our public works. Any discussion?
I'm fine.
What does that entail? Is it
I think it's,
reducing speed limits and everything?
yeah, reduce speed limit and a sign notifying that it's a school zone.
Still
But you
don't-
can't-
It's really a 15-mile-an-hour road.
It's probably up, it'll stay at 15, but
It's
there's,
really to notify drivers.
I think the fines go up when you break the speed in a school zone.
Yeah.
Does-
Construction.
Would designated a school zone also impact the business that's right there?
You'll have to slow down as they drive.
No,
through.
what I'm saying, I mean, they're a sporting goods place, I mean, is it making them a school zone, is that?
No,
impact
I,
Distance from.
You mean
10 Commerce Drive is at the corner
Oh,
of,
I'm sorry,
you're thinking
East
right
Town.
now. No,
Yeah,
it's all different. It's not. Your tire world or
Tire break, take away.
so, okay.
Wrong.
More discussion, all those in favor, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Now, the collection grant, collection assessment grant.
So Ingrid is excited, she discovered this collection assessment grant. And she wants to use it to digitize a whole bunch of, she has diaries and
Okay.
old historic things she has collected and feels, I think it's I believe she told us the $5,000 that she wants to go after.
And what would she do with the $5,000 grant?
She would pay a company to
Okay.
actually scan all these diaries and then make them available. So, all we have to do is authorize that. We never go after grant unless we're something approved for the grant, and there's no contribution from us. It will be 100%.
So I move to authorize Mark Walter, Town Administrator, to apply for the Collections Assessment Grant funded by the Connecticut Humanities. Any more discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Nothing about the lake?
No. Just on the lake, we are working on specs to actually replace the gate at the dinghy, so we're working on that.
Appointments. Well, last week or 2 weeks ago, we brought in the Hop River Preserve Committee. And I see we have some people who have volunteered to be on that, so I make a motion to appoint Joan Hill, Ann Dunn, Chris Lent, and Brandon McLean to the Hop River Preserve Committee. Now, I understand this is not all inclusive. If there are other people who want, we can add them later, but those four have stepped up. Any discussion?
Is there gonna be a match to this committee? Or anybody just wants to join?
You know, if it gets that pop.
You never know.
You might want to poll the audience right now.
We don't have any friends with the committee. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Opposed?
It's gonna get popular.
Town administrator's report.
What I included in your binders is every year, CCM, which is our Connecticut Conference of Municipalities lobbies group that lobbies our state legislators to try to pass legislation that will actually help the towns they represent. And we make it clear, they might not realize that some of the things the state does actually hurt the town. So we break it down and we try to go after 1, 2, or 3 things in the major categories that could help. I'm just providing this to you so you see what, these aren't final, we haven't voted on them, but we eventually we'll vote on an entire slate to go to the legislation. And right now we have education, environment, municipal law and labor relation, land use and housing. And those are the ones that are in, and public safety. So I'll keep bringing these to you, and then I'll give you a final draft when we're there. CCM is asked to provide links on our website. That's a discussion we'll have later, because I just want to make sure if we ever do put a link, we're not in an area where it's any conflict, that the board isn't completely behind one of their suggestions.
Like, right there, environmental management, energy, where they suggest pay issue for all.
Yes. Yeah, those are the kind of things that we should actually read these before we
Yeah.
support some of them, because the problem is you have every town with different sides, different priorities, and these are not easy. Okay,
These are what they're gonna present to the legislature. for
Correct.
us to vote on.
correct. And then I just want to tell you the Titan Energy, which is our energy consultant that we've been talking about today. Right now, this is the energy program that they are running. I think they have 40 towns that they represent. And also, I included, they represent us in looking at our heating oil, gasoline, diesel fuel. And we were able to go out and save 25 cents a gallon on heating, 45 cents a gallon on gas, and 26 cents a gallon on diesel. So we did lock for a year. So we're really concerned with the way the market was. I was scared to death that things were going to quadruple if Korea launched one more missile over Japan, or who knows what. Can you imagine that would happen? So we are locked. I feel good, and I thank you to the whole team that helped with that. And also, I just checked, our electricity is locked till December 2024 at 2069. So we're in really good shape on electricity too. And Titan Energy helped me a lot there. And then we also brought in, through the help of Judy, who's Lori DeGalvo, Laura DeGalvo, presented to our employees and helped us work through a presentation. It was an hour and 15 minutes. And it was strategies to deal with the public, de-escalate anxiety. There's a lot of things that the employees are hitting that are causing distress in the work environment. And it was a good presentation. A lot of people come to pay their taxes or to the land use department, but they're coming with all the stresses of their own lives, and that might not have anything to do with you. You just need to try to help them and de-escalate their angst. So it was good. Even public works was.
Yeah, they were great. They were very engaged.
It was well worth it. So the employees, many of them appreciated it. And then Jen and I also took training from AHM. We are now, I guess we are QPR trained, which is question, persuade, and refer, for trying to reduce anybody that has thoughts of suicide. So that was an eye opener too. That was quite a course. It took an hour. But it really, we're going to get written material, but it basically stated that you can't ignore a suicide statement from someone. And they had many examples of people that might be considering hurting themselves. And one of the worst things to do would be to ever make fun of them or call them crazy. No one would do that. It mainly said you need to try to get them help and try to engage and show concern. Don't ever ignore them. And when they show the stats, and they're pretty staggering.
And that was your age and.
Through HM, right? So HM was running this whole program. So I just want to tell you that. And they're willing to have more training programs if anybody in the town wanted to take them.
Yeah, I was gonna go, and then my grandson had half a day at school, and I couldn't do it.
And they'll do it again. I can.
Yeah, I
can
told her I do.
Keep that out there. And the last thing, we were successful in working with DOT to eliminate the passing zone in front of the main moves. And the irony was, after they told me, no way, that's the perfect passing zone, they actually went out there, looked at the site, and said, oh, yes, you're right. No car should be passing.
They really admitted that.
Yeah, they did. They said, once we looked at crossroads, traffic, the main moves traffic, and then all of 66 East, that was the only place to pass. They came, I went out and drove it. There's a double line. I hope I went far enough. I think it's the whole way.
You didn't give up.
That was a success, and I thank the board.
I appreciate that.
We were-
But I did get past just before the last meeting on that road. I had never gotten past ever driving. I drive it all the time, and I got past the weekend. I'm like, this is not. And I actually slowed way down.
I don't like the fast cars anyways.
Now, if it's safe, it's fine.
That's all I have.
Then,
Very good. Got some good press in the Chronicle this past couple of weeks. I didn't know Rustin. I knew Rustin. He told me plenty of his merchant marine stories and,
It's 100.
yeah,
yeah.
That's a
honored
standard.
for his service. That was wonderful. Wish I'd known about that. Couple of nice things in there about grants and this and that, so that's good. Things that help us out. So budget, transfers, none. Refunds. So I make a motion to approve refunds totaling $1,746.10 as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Paying bills. Make a motion, we pay bills in the amount of $228,557.85 as presented, consisting of 21.2 regular, 22.3 regular. Faculty Library Town Grant. Number 2 of 4. Credit card and the paychecks.
The use of cell phone, town of East Haddam, I assume this would go
Yes.
animal control.
Correct.
Right.
Any discussion,
No.
questions? All those in favor of paying the bills? Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Just while you're on,
Audience of citizens. Wow, a lot of people here. We covered the. That's what friends are on. Yeah, yes.
Denise still, I'm getting 16 Lake Road. I'm not sure if this goes to the Lake Management Association or the Board of Selectmen. But living next to the lake in the winter, all the sand that gets pushed over every year. I was wondering, and I'm not an engineer, but I was wondering if it would be helpful if like plywood would be put against that dock where all the sand comes under and over to my property and their property, and you know, they dig some back every year, but it's that cove is getting higher and higher. And I've noticed a significant difference in the 10 years I've been there. So I didn't know if there was something that could be done to help get that back. If it's a windy day, I can sit at my house and see the sand moving across the snow and the ice.
Well, we could usually put,
Snow fence.
silt fencing all along the
Fencing.
beach, right?
Yeah,
That's
something that would. I just,
Thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Nobody in the chat raising their hand, we're good? Excellent. Board member comments before we have to go into executive session.
Chris and Lisa.
So, I'm throwing this out there. This Saturday, the National Society of Daughters of the American Revolution, Governor Jonathan Trumbull chapter, are having a service for the Revolutionary War veteran Wadsworth Brewster, who was in egregious error, forgot him to be put on the register because his name was thrown out. So this Saturday, October 8th, at 1:30 p.m., there's going to be a dedication at the old cemetery. And he has family coming in, and there's going to be refreshments at the Lebanon Historical Society, because we at that time we were part of Lebanon. And I don't think that I know I can't. My wife has pledged us elsewhere. But we'd like a board of selectmen member to see if they can go and represent. They would be asked to arrive about 1:15. Welcome everybody to Columbia. You can say a few words if you'd like about service of a member, or not, and then just lead the group in the Pledge of Allegiance, and then there will be Daughters of the Revolution and Ingrid will be there to help the procession along, or the dedication along. So, and I know we asked Judy,
I'm gonna be a mayor.
important deputy selectman, to be there, but she has plans also. But if anybody, if they have the time, you're in Tennessee.
You could do it. I'm probably days.
You can? Thank you. All right. We'll let Ingrid know. If my plans change, then I will be there. We'll be there. I don't care. Board member comments. Nobody? Okay, so I would, at this time, I'm going to, pause the regular meeting and go into executive session. Yes, we'll invite Mark and Rob Helson.
And then after that, come back in.
Yes, you can wait and come back in because we have another thing on the agenda. Number 17, correct? Okay, we can do that. But I guess Mr. McGrath,
He's representing one of us.
Okay, but why wasn't that on the agenda?
They wanted to have an executive session first before we got into
I see.
or stages.
So, so how do we discuss that afterwards? It's not,
Would be the next meeting. The urgency to solve this.
but it's here.
Yeah.
I went through every agenda.
I know.
Huh?
Let me get,
You're okay with it?
yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
So, because you're here, and I appreciate you being concerned about something that we are going to discuss in executive session, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add,
Why don't we do,
right after the legal first, executive, huh?
well,
Just-
real estate stuff.
After the executive session, we will listen to your comments about what we will have discussed in executive session, and then we'll talk to you about it, okay? All those in favor?
Aye.
I know it was badly worded, but my general,
make it
Sound
good.
good?
Make it
make
sound
me
good.
sound good. Thank you so much. We'll let you know when you can come back. Thank you very much. And resume the board of selectmen meeting. I make a motion to approve the hiring of Deborah Bear Fisk as the recreation director for the town of Columbia. Any discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Nothing more, then, make a motion, we adjourn the board of selectmen meeting at 8:33. Fine, all those in favor?
Aye.
Stay tuned.